Hey PJs, welcome back to another video. Today I'm re-reviewing PeachyBbies slime. If you've never seen a re-review before, basically I keep some slimes that I've reviewed like months before and re-review them to see how they're holding up. Before we start, as you can see on the screen, one of my nails broke off. I had a little oopsie and I kept messing with it and it was starting to peel and I didn't want it to get caught on anything, so I got rid of it. And one other thing, one of the slimes is from a previous restock, so this is two different restock slimes, if that makes sense. So the first one that I'm going to be reviewing is a little bit older. The first slime I am re-reviewing is Love Fetty Batter. It is a cloud dough, or what's originally a cloud dough, and this is the one that was from a previous restock. I believe it was from a Valentine's restock, obviously, probably, and it was the only one I still had from that purchase that I did, and so the other two were different, but that's okay. But this one is pretty old, so I was super excited to see how it held up. The first thing that I will say is that the strawberry scent that it had, I don't remember exactly what it was. It was like a strawberry, like, I don't know if it was like supposed to be cookie dough or something. I don't remember. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. But what I will say is the strawberry scent, from what I can remember, this strawberry scent now, I'm like confusing myself. The strawberry scent now that I smell in it is a lot stronger. I don't smell any of like the sweetness and bakery that I used to smell in it. It's pretty much just strawberry. I personally think it smells worse than it did then, but it still smells good, just very strawberry forward. This slime still does have a wet feeling and residue to it as it did when I first got it, but it does seem like it has more residue and less wetness, I guess, and the wetness does slightly go away as you inflate the slime, but it still has it, and the residue is a little worse, which you will see in a little bit, like what it looks like. The texture did stay mostly consistent. Now it feels more bouncy and chewy, almost like if it was made with like a wood glue. I don't know, it feels it's really hard to describe, but it feels more bouncy. I don't know if maybe that has something to do with the fact that there's water in the slime and maybe some of it has like obviously evaporated. I'm not really sure. I don't know. But I do know that the drizzles do seem a lot easier. I remember when I first played with it, it wasn't exactly a cloud dough. It had drizzles kind of like a cloud slime, and they are a lot easier now, and the slime is a lot softer. Even though this was an older slime, I didn't get the chance to play with this one too much. That always seems to be the drawback of reviewing slimes all the time. I have so many that it's really hard to play with each and every one individually, like every day. And anytime like I sustain an injury on my hand, like I have 3 cats, they cut open my hands almost weekly when we're trying to play. And so like if I have an open cut, I'm not going to play with a slime. So it's really hard to stay consistent. So I haven't played with this one much, but it has stayed really good over time at least. And I think now it's actually a little better. Besides the residue, it's still very holdable, soft, super fun to squish, and I think it is doing better now than when I got it. There is the slightest more like amount of residue than I would like so little. So I'm going to give this one 4.9 out of 5 pajamas. Next up is whipped vanilla sugar. If I can remember correctly, it was originally a snow butter. It's really hard trying to find like the slimes that I've reviewed from like over half a year ago, like on their website and stuff. So I'm just kind of doing guesswork here, but if I can remember correctly, it was a snow butter. I did play with this one a lot more than the last one, so this will be more of an accurate review, and not to my surprise really, it became pretty much what any clay-based slime does. It deflated quite a bit and has become slightly stringy, which I notice happens a lot with older slimes, and especially slimes that have clay in them. And of course, clay heavy slimes are going to see that change the most. And this one was pretty clay heavy, so if you can see me stretching it, it kind of strings out from itself and doesn't stay together. It's really interesting. It also has a tacky feeling to it, and not the tacky that I normally talk about where it's like sticking to my hands, because this one is like totally holdable and it doesn't stick at all. It's like the tackiness that you'd feel on poster board putty. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's like the blue putty stuff that people use to stick posters to walls. I know my grade school and I think high school used it. I don't know, it's just what it feels like that kind of tackiness. It's not exactly bad, but it's there. When I first started playing with the slime, it had wet residue to it, which I would assume if it does have instant snow in it, which it was really hard to tell, but if it does, that's obviously why. Even some clays can leave a wet residue, but it did go away as it inflated. It does have good inflation, but it is way harder to inflate it. You'll see in a little bit that it does inflate, and I'll put it back in the container, but that was close to 5 minutes of inflation. It just, like, old slimes tend to inflate really slowly and deflate really quickly, so that could be a good or bad thing depending on if you like inflation. But once it does inflate, it does have really good sizzles, and like I said, it stays non-tacky. If I can remember correctly, this slime had a very sweet and very on point scent. It smelled like vanilla and Cool Whip and like sugar, I guess. So basically what the slime is named, like, it was really accurate. It did lessen a bit, as most slimes do, as you play with them, but as far as I can tell, it smells exactly the same, which did shock me. In fact, this slime as a whole really shocked me because most clay-heavy slimes really deflate to the point where they're like a quarter of what they used to be. They're really stringy and just extremely, like, poster board, putty, tacky type. But this one actually held up really well, which I'm super impressed about. I thought this slime held up great, so it gets 5 out of 5 pajamas. Last for this re-review is Lava Block. It is a clear glue snow fizz, and it has just about the same, like, playability as the last one. Like, I played with this one periodically, not like a lot, but more than the first one, so hopefully this one is pretty accurate as well. And I was really excited to see how this one held up and how much it changed, because when I first reviewed this one, I remember it being extremely tacky and leaving tons of residue on my hands, so I wanted to know how time has changed this texture. Firstly, every single time I look at this slime, the color still stuns me. It is gorgeous beyond everything. It is so bright, and what's really awesome is that at least now, I can't remember because I didn't go and look at that review, probably should have so I could prepare for this one, but at least now it doesn't leave any red coloring on my hands, which is extremely awesome. Like, that, I don't know how they did that, but that's incredible. What shocked me about this slime was the scent. It smelled exactly like it did day one. I remember it smelling like cleaners, which is one of my favorite scents because I don't know, it just smells good. Cleaning smells good anyways, but it smells exactly like that. It hasn't diminished at all. That's awesome. And don't mind what I'm doing on the screen. I wanted to, like, explain to you guys how I like to activate, like, snow fizzes or anything that's crunchy. If you just put the activator on top of the slime and kind of rub it out like that, it legit feels like a hand massage, and I'm a sucker for hand massages. I'm a sucker for any massages, whatever. They feel great. Anyways, I don't know, it feels really cool. It's like my favorite way to activate slimes that are crunchy. I already mentioned that the scent didn't change at all, but sadly the texture really didn't at all. I'm obsessed with this one. I love the scent, the color, the theme. I play Minecraft all the time. It's such a relaxing game, but still pisses me off somehow. But I love this one so much, and it makes me so sad that the slime still leaves a ton of residue, like on the creases of my hands, on my nails. It gets extremely tacky even before inflation, and you will see after I inflate it. I usually try to fit them back in the container, but this one was pretty much impossible to do because it was just leaving ginormous chunks of activator on my hands. It was bad. And, like, I don't mean to sound rude or anything because I love this slime. I adore it. And it does happen. Tackiness with certain slimes is something that is needed, but I feel like with this one, it's kind of too much. And it was just leaving huge chunks on my hands. You will see it, but that's really the reason I haven't played with it too much, is just because the residue really does get to me. I know everyone has their pet peeves about slime and what they do and don't like and stuff like that, and for the most part, I'm cool with almost anything, but the residue, I just cannot deal with. It just, I don't know, it feels weird on my hands, and then I know that I can't take it anywhere else besides, like, the table, and it flings slime everywhere, and it's just not a fun time, at least for me. The only reason I'm tolerating it for this one is because I just love this one. And because of the residue, it gets 4 out of 5 pajamas. And with that, that is the end of this re-review, and I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you made it this far and you feel like it, go ahead and go look at some of my older reviews. As long as I still have the slimes and you guys suggest them, I'm more than happy to do other re-reviews. I know this has helped a few of you guys. Even if it helps one of you, I'm down for doing re-reviews because, you know, you want to get your money's worth. You want to make sure that the slimes stay good. But I am signing off, and I will see you guys in the next one.